It's late. It's not too late, but I wanted to tune in and see if there were some messages that wanted to come through from the guidance. I just did a meditation and I don't know, there was some interesting movement of energy during that time. And so I kind of wanted to just tune in a little bit further on here and see if something else might come through, some message for myself and anybody else out there. Oh, excuse me. So let's see what else there is for the guides to say. If you just give me a minute to tune in here. And here comes a cat. Okay, just wait. Just relax. So I had done a body scan, earlier, like I do with my meditations, and I did notice something of a warping of the energy, which tends to, at least that's how I describe it, like at the end of the day, it just feels that way. And one thing that came up was the center of my torso, specifically that solar plexus area. If you're going to talk about that, that's the third chakra, and I think of the color yellow and personal power, specifically confidence, personal power. And it was telling me that my that center part of my energy field looks underdeveloped, like it looks immature, like there's still some little girl energy that has not been worked with, or just underdeveloped. It's not been developed, it's not matured. So it's something that I'm being told that I need to go back and look at the areas of my life that I'm not dealing with in a completely whole way. I was going to say adult way, but more in a whole way, like my whole self. So that part was interesting. It almost has a feeling of weakness to it, like some overindulgence and some weakness to it, which is interesting. I don't know. I'm gonna have to investigate that a little bit. I don't know where I would be overindulgent. Okay, so I'm getting kind of a spark twitch of energy in my left shoulder blade, which is new. I've not felt that before. Let's see if I can get what that's telling me. Yeah, it seems like there's a little bit of energy warp there as well. It feels like dented and like indented in a way. So there's a connection with that in the back body, and that is somehow connected. There's some silver and gold here, which I feel like those are my spirit guides coming through here. I get the sense of them wanting to like push me back somehow, or yeah, like they're wanting to turn me around, like to show me something, something from the past that needs to come to the light, and that must have something to do. I think it does have something to do with some childhood stuff that's not been resolved yet. Some areas that I'm still functioning as a child, like I said before. but it feels like they're bringing it back up, which is interesting because that did come in this just over the past few days. I've had some family issues that have re-emerged, but with a different tone to them. So I thought that it was different, that it was coming in different. And then when I had a chance to talk it through with someone, I realized it's actually the same thing, but it was like in a way modified by my mind. My mind modified it to try and make it more palatable, which I know sounds like some dissociation, but it really did. Once I talked it through, it really did make sense that it was the same thing that I was trying to like rebrand. My ego was trying to rebrand. Very tricky. It can be very tricky, the mind. So I don't know that I'm fully through that yet, but this makes sense now that they're saying that this is like some old childhood stuff that needs to be worked through, and they're going to bring it back around so I could see it. Like they're like telling me to like turn around and take a look. It feels like going through some files in the mind, like old files in the mind from childhood. Things I haven't thought about in a long time. Something about being clever. And cleverness is not really necessarily virtuous, which seems kind of harsh, but that seems to be what they're saying here is, and I think I had a conversation with ChatGPT about it, about cleverness, and cleverness is part of the program, you know? Yeah, I feel like there is someone kind of in a way trying to making fun of me or making fun of something, and it does feel archetypal, like like a bully archetype, like bullying and being clever enough, like being clever enough, maybe to not be bullied, or some bullying stuff. I've not thought about that before. That's interesting. Being bullied and being a bully. Feels like it's one and the same in a way. So this seems to be related with like my power being taken away at some age. And it does feel like it wasn't taken away in like any direct, obvious way. You know, like a bullying somebody, like taking their lunch money or knocking them down or something like that. It doesn't feel like it was done in that way. It feels like it was done in a more, do I dare say, insidious way, where it was like you didn't see it coming, or I didn't see it coming. Even once it happened, I didn't realize what it was, which actually that makes sense, because that has happened to me a lot. I've had a number of relationships that involve a narcissist, and narcissistic types, that's what they tend to do, is they will bully, but in a undermining way, right? like gaslighting is a form of bullying for sure. But being gaslit, which has been a big part of my life. The people that I've had in my life that aren't really in my life anymore, but it's still an old way of doing things that needs to be moved out. And so I think that's what that's showing me right now, is what I've even learned to do is like bully myself, right? The bullying and the gaslighting has happened for so long that I've learned to just do it to myself. Yeah, that's gonna be a big shift. Just seeing that, becoming aware of it. And this is part of the process. I think this is part of the awareness and being able to release it once I see it. Maybe there's other people out there that are dealing with the same stuff. I can only imagine, because there are a lot of narcissism going on right now in the world. Yeah, it just seems to be the tone of the world. I mean, I might be a little more biased just because my experience for so many years has been with those types of people. But I still, our politicians and people in charge and corporations, it's all narcissism, right? Anyway, so something to work through. I think the biggest takeaway for me right now is that I have taken on that role. Even though I've moved these people out of my life, I've like stepped in myself to take on the role of that, of continuing to bully myself in situations, and talk down to myself and talk myself out of stuff, like gaslight, make myself think things are something that they're not. Yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that information, and it gives me something to work with, especially with the full moon coming tomorrow. Time to release some of this stuff. So maybe some of you all have that going on too. If you have any comments to share, I appreciate it. So that's it for this evening. So that's all. Peace.